Howdy. I thought I'd do a reading for myself because something kind of felt, I don't know, when it comes to family, it's never certain, or at least for me, it's always been kind of, uncertain. And that's part of the, I don't know, it's weird. I have a weird relationship with my family. It's, I don't know. But the point is that, so I looked into my charts, and specifically I looked into an Horary chart. So I've been practicing kind of on and off Horary astrology and cleansing the air as I'm doing this one. And I've been kind of wondering about it. It's been on and off, like I want to see my niece, but there's something about it. There's a reason why I've been asking this question. So the question popped up in my head. I finalized the question last night and I wrote it down. I wrote down the time, and I'll show you what came up. So here we go. Alright, so this is the chart. No, that's the transit for that event. So this is the Horary chart. So far that I know, I've usually been asking like yes or no questions. The question is, should I go to my niece's 18th birthday? Now I know it's her 18th birthday and she's my niece and all that stuff. But there's something in the event that I don't know yet about, but according to this one, so I'm asking for myself. I am represented by Venus here. Venus rules the ascendant. So we look into Venus, and then we look at the question, the quesited, which is I looked into it and I was just wondering, what is that? So it can't be traveling because it's the 18th birthday, but what was the actual core of the question, which is, because I'm not that close to family, it's a family thing. So it definitely has to do with the 4th house. At least that's what came to me, because it's like, it makes sense. And maybe I'm biased about it, and I probably shouldn't be. But I looked into the houses and I was like thinking to myself, is it a first house thing? Does it have to do with emotional confusion? Okay, so here, if it is an emotional confusion. Uranus, there's no planet in the 1st house. Well, there is. It's a moon. Sorry, yeah, it's a moon. So it's emotional confusion, frustration, and maybe tears. That could be the event itself, which is because it's her 18th. But I don't know. But there's no aspect to, is there? Yeah, there is. You see that square there? And the moon square Venus, and Venus, I'm represented by Venus, and also the question is represented, or the moon also represents the significator or co-significator of, let's see here, of the chart or the question itself. Always co-rule of the question. So that means, but because it's squaring me, which is Venus here, that's a square. And any square to the querent and the ruler of the house, so that's me, ruler of the ascendant Venus, ruler of the house that represents the question, which is Uranus, right there. Okay, what rules? But we also have to look into Jupiter. So Jupiter, see, that's funny. Jupiter is also squaring Venus. So that's like a double no. And according to the book I'm reading right now, squares and oppositions say no. So the answer to the question is direct no. Plus the fact that it's Jupiter, they're usually positive, but there's also Uranus here. But because it's both square, that's a definite no. At least 75% no. So that means no is the question. Then I was wondering what is going on here. Did I say Jupiter here? Not that I think about it. Sorry, Saturn. There is no aspect to Saturn and there's no aspect to Saturn and Venus. However, there is the co-rule of the question, Saturn, which is rules the fourth house here with Aquarius, is traditional one. If we were to look at that, it's a soft yes to the co-ruler, co-significator of the question. Right? And look back into this one. The moon is the co-significator of co-ruler of the question. That means even if I looked at the fourth house, because it's a fourth house thing, the event itself, I still look at the moon itself. So it's funny because it's squaring Venus and it's trine Saturn. So that's a confusing thing. So that means it's yes or no, it's uncertain. And I can't give the answer to. But I feel like it's more of a no right now. And when it's a question like this, I was told that you don't ask the same question the week after, wait a few months. So I'll probably ask this question again in June, around June, maybe early June, mid-June, we don't know. So far the answer seems to be mostly no, because there's a square, and a square. There's literally a square to Venus from the moon, which is the ruler of the questioned or the question, the co-ruler. Plus it's the co-ruler. The ruler of the house. So Lord 4 here. It's called Lord 4 of Aquarius, which is also Uranus. And a square to Venus right there. Yeah, that's all I can say. It's really weird. You can probably see that right now. So anyways, then I drew up a chart of the event itself, and I thought, what's going to happen? Okay, so that's my transit chart. This is the event itself. I noticed that the event would be considered still a family affair, so I would still go with the fourth house. And looking at the planets there. What rules the fourth house here? So this is no longer horary, this is an event chart. Which would technically be mundane, but also somewhat natal. I'm talking about in terms of which, but still, it's an event chart, so that means that from what I see here, I forget what I just said there, but I'm just reading it. So Mars rules the fourth house here. But before we go into the ruler of the fourth house here, we look at the planets in the fourth house. So you have the collective north node conjunct the nadir. So imam quali, okay. That means it feels like it's going to be a head-on sort of thing. It's going to be about freedom. It's going to feel like the event is it's all pertaining to a feeling of freedom. I don't know what the North Node represents mundane-wise, like in terms of everyday things, but I believe it has something to do with choices. So choices regarding freedom, they're going about it. This is dated July 20, 2024. 6 p.m. The event starts at 6 p.m., so I went with that one. There's also Eris there and Chiron, which are both conjunction. So issues about social inclusion and feeling kind of, and there's going to be some sort of, I don't know, it's chaos there with Chiron. Chiron and Eris kind of, they don't really work together. Even though it is a conjunction, it'll feel like emotional issues regarding, or wounding regarding social inclusion might come up, and anger probably might be kind of a thing there. And especially with this whole conjunction happening anyways, but it does pertain to the event, and it's in the 4th house. So things will be probably things that are unspoken. Most likely might be the case there because it is in the 4th house. It's a hidden thing. So issues regarding all that stuff within our family itself, like within my niece and how she would feel about the whole thing. And you look at that one right there. So before we get it, sorry, I'm looking at the square. I see 2 areas where it's going to square. But before we get into that, we look into Mars and see how that rules this 4th house. Where's Mars? Did I just miss it? Okay. Uranus, Mars, and Sedna are going to be conjunction on that day. Especially with Mars as the fast-moving planet here among the other two. Mars, issues regarding, I don't know, I feel like Sedna, again, I'm still getting to know Sedna, but Sedna has a lot to do with like forgiveness, like really like forgiving. And I'm going to actually look into cycles. So she's about forgiving disposition, discernment, clarity of perception, recognition of free will and choice, responsible, conscious of consequences for thinking, Dharma-oriented, does the homework of life. Now it's Philip Sedgwick stuff. I'm not sure exactly how to word that so that people, even I kind of don't really understand that. And I still have to go through the mythology, seeing what I can get myself from it. Number for Sedna is 8. Something to do with trust too, but because it's so building business, realism, efficiency, balance, organization. Okay, so that's Sedna. That's her number. And Sedna also deals with tolerance, so basically forgiveness, soul release, I feel, I'm not sure, focus on beyond, sensuality, adventure. Okay, that's more of the number. There's a lot more than Neptune and more than Pluto. So conscientiousness of illusions, self-empowerment. Well beyond the heliosphere, okay, so creative self-expression, illusions. So definitely like beyond acceptance. It's like absolute, she's the higher vibration of Ceres. So that means like real acceptance of nurturing, and it's beyond nurture, where it's like the universe is your nurture instead of you and anybody else around you. In my chart, Sedna is in the 10th house. So, and I feel like with Sedna, I've had to learn how to really let go of reputation. But Sedna, I believe, is retrograde in my own chart. We looked at my own birth chart right here. Yeah, see, 6 degrees right there. And it's square. It's square ascendant. So Sedna, I don't know how she feels exactly, like in terms of like personally how she feels. Thursday, Friday. I'm trying to understand it right now. So something to do with not only complete acceptance, but she's like another version of Haumea or Gaia, which is like real acceptance of your natural self and forgiveness at the same time. It's like nature and nurture put together, but complete life. Because she's said now in mythology, she was the goddess of she was like the mother goddess, basically. I'm not really sure. So a lot to do with cycle. It's like a renewal of forgiveness and allowing for that to happen. So with that, I would say Sedna here in the event itself is going to bring up issues about angers, but it's going to be kind of like probably sudden things, like maybe issues regarding hurt feelings, willpower, but definitely like anger related things, and kind of bringing that back. But because this is in the 6th house, we're talking about unconscious issues here. Health might be an issue here as well. Forgiveness of or allowing of concerns pertaining to wellness and well-being. Because Mars is here, it's like I keep thinking accidents. I'm not saying I'm judging the chart, but really there could be, but not necessarily accident in that case, but sudden accident or unexpected accidental, sudden and accidental release of past issues, abandonment, and because there is an opposition to ascendant right here in the event, and it's in Sagittarius. This one's Mars and Sedna will be in Mercury. So communication, issues regarding health, regarding unconscious behavior, regarding issues about what else is it? The 6th house is not only unconscious stuff. Let's see here. The unconscious mind, service. So okay. I don't know. It's not that bad, I think. It's like, but for some reason I'm getting no. Like we're talking about, issues that people still have today about the pandemic, or rather not pandemic, but coronavirus. And for me personally, that's what I'm thinking about, and I'm just being honest about it. But because it's not, Mars also rules, because it's in the house of health. It's Mars in this case will represent the immune system. I believe that Mars has the ability to. It says here, Mars energy can be destructive in fighting with courage and strength. Inflammation. Okay, so inflammation might be kind of sudden inflammation, maybe because it rules. It rules the head through Aries, external reproductive organs, so the head and face. But Sedna rules what I discovered here. It seems like she rules a circadian rhythm, not sure. So maybe metabolism might be an issue here as well. So maybe hormones, so growth hormones. Well, that kind of ties in with my niece growing up. The glands, though, is probably part of this one. Pituitary gland, thymus, circulatory system, blood, something to do with that. Okay, fat as well. Metabolism and fat. So I don't know, something about the event. Maybe there's something that's going to go on that I don't know about. But with Sedna there, it's maybe they're going to have an exercise on forgiveness and or kind of allowing for it. I'm not really sure, but it's going to be weird and unusual. at least unusual in the sort of like sixth house stuff, like health-wise, any sort of like unconscious, unburied sort of like suddenly coming out, maybe anger might be kind of thing, and then all of a sudden kind of really talk about it and really let it go. Because with Sagittarius with ascendant in Sagittarius, it's going to be issues regarding like the law probably. I'm not really sure, but definitely issues with or concerns. I wouldn't say issues because it's an opposition. They can it'll come to balance when we let it, right? In Sagittarius, it's something to do with it's supposed to, with the ascendant, it's supposed to bring out the embodiment of the whole event, which is to say that it's going to be pertaining to something active, maybe somewhere, but also pertaining to like something international. Maybe it's going to include, it's going to appear like it's an international event. There's a lot of different people from other places. I'm not really sure. Okay. But with the embodiment of that whole thing, in the first house, we look at it. Ixion, Pholus, Quar are in conjunction. Also conjunct with Ceres. So all of them are retrograde. That's very interesting. So the Ixion represents bliss, right? Represents what we truly want and what we're trying to strive for so that we feel really like ourselves. Pholus is decision making, so that it's about where we make choices so that we're not so dire. Core is a certain confidence in oneself, ability to be creative and really be connected to life. But because they're in retrograde here, even with Ceres, with like this feeling of, is it going to be a nurturing event? It's probably why I'm getting to know in the Horary chart. And so they're all in retrograde. So it's a sort of an internal issues, probably within like our family, the issues about, I don't know, I feel like there's something going on there. And it's all going to be in Capricorn. So something to do with head figures, old traditions pertaining to specifically traditions. My father can be involved in that one as well. Feeling of like maybe it might be an event that might feel kind of, the whole event might feel kind of cold and disconnected. Even though we have a conjunction here, we have a stellium here. It's pretty strong because it's like there's an uncertainty of the whole feeling of Quar is in retrograde here. So there's a sort of uncertainty and awkwardness that's probably going to happen throughout. And I'm personally, I've seen that so many times. And all with Make. That entire stellium is going to be square Make. And the reputation of the event or ego is going to be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be ideas coming through, but how that's going to be perceived is again something that probably the event was intended for in the first place. Probably cold, uncertain of itself. Decisions that are being made are kind of, it's kind of, we don't know. Okay. Might have later consequences. I don't know, because it's Pholus right there. And Ixion, bliss is highly questioned there, and it's going to be kind of this, I don't know, I feel like it is going to be a little tense with Ixion there. I don't know, maybe not necessarily tense, but feeling of highly uncertain. If you saw, like Uranus is squaring the Venus in the Horary chart, right here, right? And that already says a lot. So we go back into the fourth house. Okay, as we see here, yeah, it's square the moon, and it's square square Pluto here in retrograde, Pluto will be in retrograde in Aquarius on that day, and it's squaring the wounding that comes up, and so it will be a feeling of like emotional suppression, possibly, because you have Moon here. I mean, this is going to sound biased. I'm not supposed to do that, but that's what I'm seeing here as well. Moon in Capricorn is going to be a kind of like a grounded sort of emotion, but because it's square wounded, it's square Chiron in Aries here, there's going to be some sort of struggle in terms of like people feeling included during the event itself, specifically with family. I don't know, this is why I'm also probably getting no. And Pluto there is going to be in retrograde in internalized issues, internalized question of power. Where does one feel really belonged? And it's going to be in the second house, issues regarding the whole thing. So the people around there, which is the Moon, and Pluto, which is the whole feeling of the generational event sort of thing, where, I don't know, wounding regarding past issues and trauma. And yes, viruses, bacteria as well is included there, but it's in the second house. So trauma is more of the issue here because it's, and money for sure, because it's the second house. And it's going to be internalized and probably expenses are going to be spent. So I don't know. Moon, and with Moon square Pluto here, intense emotions are going to be kind of, they're not going to be necessarily intense, but people will wonder where the emotions are, you know, like where are they? It's like, and the people will be like, it's just going to be kind of like there's, yeah, emotionless most likely. And it's going to be opposite Saturn. It's the Sun right here. Sun in Cancer wants to feel, and that's going to be, you know, something that my niece is Cancer. Her Sun is in Cancer, so you probably most likely want to connect, and that's what's important to Cancer people, right? So, but with the Sun there, it's the governing bodies. So in terms of like the event itself, probably like my brother might be kind of a, you know, the people will be, the emotions and the people and self-worth regarding transformation. The event is going to be not only weird, but there's a potential for it to be an event of transformation, depending on what is decided by people who are in charge of the event. But definitely pertaining a lot to money. Okay, so yeah, I see here an issue with money with the events. So to be honest, I don't want to be part of that drama. What else? We got Mars right there. Okay, rules Aries. Six degrees Imumqueli, 6 degrees. Oh, it's going to be opposite Makemake, so that means it's going to be the whole plan and the goal of the event is going to be T-squared with this whole uncertainty feel of this whole embodiment of it, where it's just going to feel like, and issues are going to be like talked about, but it might be, people will be probably quick to judge the situation. And the reputation and the ego of the event, of the what's going to happen, might feel like it's going to go against the intention of the event. Supposed to be like for my niece, it's like feeling like she can be free, she's getting older, right? But again, the release is on the stellium here, Ixion, Pholos, Core, and Ceres. But they're all in retrograde, so internalized feelings, internalized decision, internalized confidence, internalized bliss, it's going to be questioned in terms of that event. And most likely, I don't know, I had this feeling that usually when it comes to certain events, especially family, I usually kind of just sit in the background and I feel like there's no productiveness about it. There's no intensity. Not in sense of intensity, there's no, it's usually kind of empty. And that's most likely why I'm getting the no as well. To see more reasons why I'm getting the no. And I did, to be honest, I did kind of wanted to join, but that's more about, I wanted to be part of the event, but I wanted it to be more about, because it's me, meaning like, because I don't get to see them that often, but I'm sure that, I know that that's rooted in fulfilling the role of the uncle. Okay, so, but my family is religious, so, and I don't know. So saying no won't necessarily be that hard, but at the same time, it's that whole like thing in the back of my head thinking like, is he part of this family? Well, family because of what? Right? When you have family that expects you to be there just because you're family, because it's society says so, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't, it has no purpose behind it. And so I've never, yeah. So it's weird. Family is weird. Families are all weird. People say that all the time, but for me, from what I see, it's like my family is just fucking weird. And not only weird, it's just if I showed you my fourth house and what other planets are in my fourth house, which is right here, that's right here. And there's a lot. And there's a lot there that I don't talk about because it's yeah, a lot of trauma. And so, I don't know. In any case, the answer was no anyways, or at least mostly no. What else was there? The event, another T-square right here. Right, the Sun, the Moon, Pluto, Moon, Eris. So it's going to pull at the whole thing as if it's we need to release through woundings coming up about freedom. I don't know, I feel like my niece is going to be feeling that. And I don't know. But definitely that unexpected stuff is the sixth house here. I feel like it's a big thing. Something to do with that. There's a sixth house issue here, so something to do with health as well. I don't know what's going to happen there. You got Jupiter, square Saturn. For goodness sakes. Let's look into, so Jupiter actually rules the ascendant, so the embodiment of the whole event is squaring Saturn. So a lot of limitations imposed on the event or the situation, what's going to happen, and there's not going to be a sense of, so ground, like it's retrograde too. Okay, Saturn retrograde. So uncertainty about security, uncertainty about what to keep and what to conserve, and time might be an issue as well. With the squaring, a Jupiter that's not retrograde. And Jupiter is in the seventh house, so it's going to be like, yay, great, okay, it's in Gemini, so it's like great, expansive communication. So people might feel like they need to communicate, but there's going to be a feeling of uncertainty of like, how much do I believe in this? Saturn in retrograde in Pisces is like, it's kind of like saying, you can't be who you're ultimately being, but yes, you can at the same time. And Saturn is kind of like on shaky ground there. It's going to be like, fears might come up again regarding like communicating with relationships, any sort of relationship in that event or on that day. And you have Saturn opposite of Orcus and opposite of Juno. So being honest with oneself and being honest, people that maybe at that event might not know exactly how to feel in terms of like, like, what is this? Like, there might be issues regarding fears about what the event is believed to be, or I guess you can see the philosophy of that event. It's in the ninth house, but Orcus there on the mundane level has to do with like maybe codes, revelation of truth. So that means like anything to do with like secrecies and kind of revealing of secrets, not necessarily secrets, but yeah, so integrity, right? But it's on a mundane level, it's the, what did I see here? Decoding of like actual code. Maybe they might have issues with accessing the event itself, maybe the door, maybe, I don't know. So, I don't know, but it is opposite of Saturn, so it's more about, I don't know, so, so third house, I don't know, issues with law, so another, and of course another T-square, Jupiter wanting to be free of the whole thing, wanting to liberate and wanting to actually expand on this idea of communication, being able to just say what you want. But it's like, no. There's going to be technicalities, technical issues about the contract, about the whole thing possibly. Any contracts, any sort of agreements made for the event. I have no idea. Going back to Mars here, technology might be an issue as well, in terms of its opposite of the ascendant. Not exactly an issue, but they'd have to adapt to the electricity, probably accidental issues with the electricity there, and computers. So, and Jupiter is also opposite of that one, so plus it rules that, the ascendant, but it's opposite that. So it's going to feel like the event wants to be seen as kind of accepting and whole and expansive, and maybe also international, maybe all welcoming, but with opposite of Jupiter, it's probably going to end up being more like, let's analyze this with Gemini there. Right, so issues with siblings, so my niece and her brother or brothers. Well, we have an intercepted sign. So that means that communication is not going to be open. It's going to be quiet. It's going to be blocked off. Most likely, or delayed, not delayed. Well, delayed because of the retrograding Saturn, but you also have Neptune there, retrograde, which is opposite Makemake. So diluted or like certainty of what your purpose is, what the purpose of communication, and why should we communicate, and getting ideas for that. It's going to be weird. It's going to be all around weird. Communication is going to be an issue. Relationships are going to be an issue there. And I think it's just going to be this gong show, right? That's why I'm most likely getting no to it with the whole thing. Looking at my chart and seeing how the transit on my chart on that day, Pallas Athena is going to bring in issue. I keep saying issues, so it's kind of like, I feel like I'm jumping right into the negative, but I don't want to. Learning from the situation, or specifically that day. Going to be about 20 degrees. So it's going to be opposing my Chiron retrograde. So issues regarding that might come up, but learning from the fact that it's like, maybe, I don't know, I'll definitely feel it on that day. Personally, it's going to be brought up as a kind of like, I know that it's wisdom, because Pallas Athena there is not in retrograde. It's going to be maybe regarding transformation, regarding issues with who to trust, because it is Scorpio here. 20 degrees, so let's take a look. What else is there? 20 degrees, anything in Aquarius? Nope. It's going to be square on Vesta. So wisdom is going to be kind of questioned. It's like a wisdom. I keep saying wisdom with Pallas Athena. But really, it's more about figuring out exactly. Like I'll be able to. Well, I guess I'll experience challenges, so discernment and where I should devote myself to. But I've already been devoting myself to my own personal journey of like being childlike and being in the moment. So with that, but Vesta's also, I'm probably going to experience a Vesta return in a few months after this one, or a few weeks. You can see that Vesta right there. It's transiting. What else? But it's going to be square Vesta, and actually square my own north node. So questioning of like where I'm headed, naturally, or especially what most likely because of the question, because the answer is most likely no. It almost feels like maybe they might think it's a betrayal, or maybe they think, okay, he doesn't want to come to this event. But I was like, well, I told my sister-in-law, I said, let me see if I can get that time off work. But I didn't say yes yet. I didn't say no either. With Mars, that whole stellium right there, Uranus, Mars, Sedna conjunction, so the stellium, 29 degrees Uranus and 0 degrees Mars, 1 degree Sedna. It's at least Mars will be, well, Uranus will be opposite of my Uranus. And it's my natal Uranus. So it's going to be a feeling of, it's just weird with weird. But in this case, bringing about like unusual habits pertaining to anything in reputation. It'll be like, but I've learned to really let go a lot of these things. Like I can see right now when I'm talking, it's like you see Maki right here, 25 degrees, right? But now, see, this is what's happening. I can't talk properly. It's been happening recently, the past few months, especially with Uranus square Maki, and I can't seem to express myself that clearly. It just doesn't come out. It's unusual. It's kind of like on and off. But with it opposite my natal Uranus, it's going to be equally weird, and it's going to be weirdness in both like home and external environments. So the public will see me as like extra weird. I don't care. Mars will also be opposite of my own Mars on that day anyways. Pacific in that day because it is a fast moving planet. So, but Mars is already going to be in the 11th house, so possibly new things might come through that is with new communities or new connections. I'm not really sure. I don't know. Anger might come out. I don't know. But Sedna is there right there. So I love the fact that Sedna is there and allowing that softness to come through with Mars. So that way it's kind of bringing in like this sort of like, probably maybe letting go of the cycle of anger for me personally, because this is more of a transit on my own personal chart. So Sedna is going to be opposite of that and making me kind of question like where does my anger come from? That pull that we get when we have Mars, it's with Sedna here conjuncting Mars. I love that. It's going to soften a lot of that issues, any sort of issues, anything to do with anything with Mars, accidents, wars, anger, hospitals, emergencies, scars, okay, more like current scars. Polus Ixioncore is going to be transiting, and it has been transiting my 6th house, so it's trying to kind of stand ground in terms of like dealing with unconscious behavior, because things have been coming up recently where it's like issues regarding unconscious behavior and really pertaining to tradition and any sort of things that I would conserve, that I would preserve or conserve, but also fears come up. So fears regarding like what is it that I'm really happy about, and working through that. It's in Capricorn, so I need to work through that. I need to work through those fears. I need to work through what is bliss in the first place? What is, and how do I decide so that I can feel more confident in myself and real connection with life? Yeah. But in that event also, it's going to be, is that actually, did I do it for that event? Did I do the transit right? Let's take a look. Oh no, that's not the one. Yeah, July 2024. I thought the moon was... Oh, because the moon right here will be later in, will be going into later degrees of Capricorn. But in this one, I got this at midnight, because I couldn't put the transits like in time, so that's fine. But eventually, it's going to go into 23 degrees in that later on, which means that it's going to be opposite my own series. Issues about emotions, bringing up like kind of balancing inner, I need to probably process all that stuff. Again, another reason why I shouldn't go. Part of me does kind of feel bad because it's like, it's her 18th birthday, but I have to see this through. I have to see that it's like, well, it's not about me going, it's about her perceiving things and growing through that. So I don't know. But we'll see in 3 months. I may ask a different question, I don't know. Things might change. The event is going to be most likely the same anyways, and the transit is going to be the same, but whatever the Horary chart will read in the next 3 months, I don't know. I've never done anything like this before where I've read the chart and I've actually, because I'm thinking of asking the question in 3 months, because if they said here, I think if you ask a question, don't ask it until 3 months later. Wait until 3 months or something like that. What is it? Is there any exaltation here? Nope. Nope. The moon is not exalted there. Ancient rules also state that if a planet leaves a sign before the aspect forms, it is not applicable. Oh. If a planet leaves a sign before the aspect forms, Venus has already gone past that here from the moon. It's not an aspect, it's past it. Or rather, the moon will be towards that. So the answer will be, like in this case, no. Kind of like a sounding no, a resounding no. It's like, it's gonna be no. Because it's 13 degrees, whereas Venus is on 16. And with Venus in 16, Uranus 19, Venus will approach towards. It's what's that word? There's a term for it. I totally forgot what the term was. The point is, it's going to be no in either direction here. Okay, I got my answer. So anyways, okay, so that was a chart. So I kind of feel disappointed a little bit, but you know, I have to honor and listen to that. It's not the ego that's saying this. It's the ego wants to kind of. I feel like I have been a good uncle. I've been especially when they're younger, but as they got older, it was kind of becoming more distant. And then the pandemic came, then it was just like even more distant. I don't know, I still see them at family events, but when we talk, it's not personal, it's not like, you know, but I think that's typical in my family anyways. I don't know. I feel like I really have to let that go. And part of this process is this whole thing where family is also one of those things that they just have to accept it, and I have to accept it. We're just on different grounds, and I think we're just here to kind of help each other and teach each other things. I'm very grateful for my parents, though, and my sister. It's my brother's side that's kind of because of the distance, and it's created that rift. And I don't know, I'm not saying that I'm causing that as well. I do have a choice, but at the same time, who's to say that blood family is family in the first place? Right? It's all about perspective and at the same time choices. So whatever choice we make, we learn from that. I don't know. But I'm definitely honoring this one, and I'm most likely going to say no, or at least no for me right now without really saying anything to them. Because I don't know. Yeah. I feel like I'm going to need to make an excuse somehow. But at the same time, you need to make excuses sometime, because even if I say the truth and I don't want to, then I don't know. We'll see. That's all for now. Thanks. Oh, actually, no, it's not. Sorry. Let's see what the heavens say. The charts have shown me something else. I wonder what the cards are going to say. Okay, that one's come out. Okay, two at the same time. This one came out first, this one came out. I'm going to draw 8 cards. Yep. 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 This one needs to come out. This one needs to come out. Okay, that one needs to come out. Okay. Okay, let's try this one. I'm gonna do an 8 spread. And I don't know what that is, but 8, I'm going with Sedna's number here. I'm going to do with the Divining Myself spread. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. I am this now. First card was what? Knight of Swords. Okay, something to do with being head-on and brave and courageous. In many ways, more ways than one. Knight of Swords. Knight of Cups. Second card. This one is what bugs me. Yeah, Knight of Cups. Probably being just there for others and just sitting by and then knowing that I could do more, but just taking in, whatever. What I like about myself. Page of Cups. It's upside down when I got it, but okay, that's fine. Page of Cups. There's a fish in the cup. That fish looks like the Pisces thing. Ties in with my part of fortune, which is in Pisces, or at least in my relocated chart, not relocation, relocated chart, meaning like as if I was born here where I live, or I moved to rather. Being able to communicate and deal with things emotionally through guidance. Yeah, that's right. You can say that. What I like about myself, being able to talk to myself and talk to my guide and even talk to animals, talk to guidance. And there's a flow about it that I like about myself, that I like flow. What I don't like about myself, which is the fourth one, right? Oh, okay. 9 of Wands. Fulfilling societal expectations, probably. Maybe I'm trying to just like too much of a giver, people pleaser. Oh, it was also upside down. I'm gonna consider that something. 5, my talents. Also upside down. 6 of Pentacles. Harmony, yeah, diplomacy, being able to, so Libra thing. being able to give equally to others. My temptation. Six of Cups. No. Yeah, Six of Cups. Is this something to do with magnanimosity or megalomania? I don't know what this is. Pride? I don't know. Feeling I'm like bigger than the person I give to. Being the center of attention, probably. I don't know. Here. My personal quest. Again, strength. Okay, strength. This is about the courage again. It's upside down. Upside down, I feel like, is similar to retrograde, I feel. Probably. But it's upside down. It's the strength itself. The card of strength. Okay? And trusting in divinity. There's that infinite sign at the top there. Right? So it's finding courage, strength. But it's upside down, so it means I doubt it. Possibly that's what I'm getting at, because I'm going through that. I usually go through that. My current guardian angel. Okay. Two of Cups. Health. Something to do with health. Courage in one's health. The lion with the wings and going for it. But there's that snake thing. Something to do with health and medicine. I don't know. Balancing my yin-yang energies. Male-female thingy. I don't know what this is. Like giving as much as receiving. And it's not upside down, so let's take a look. The first one was Knight of Swords. Self-assured, incisive, frank, impetuous. Analyze the situation, cuts off from feeling. Yep. Yeah. So that's my current thing. I do. I don't mean to. I just, I don't know. It's what bugs me. Knight of Cups. Knight in shining armor, emotional rescue, dashing off to rescue someone. Yep, being there for people that feel like, oh, Jose, can you help me? Can you help me? I feel like you're an issue. I have like Aries, the cusp of, as in what rules my 10th house. The 10th house ruler is Mars. So Aries, it's reputation, how people view you, right? Loves beauty but hates imperfection. Imaginative but unrealistic. Gushing sentiments. Suspect intentions. Melancholic but then ecstatic. Exaggeration of feeling. Yep. That's right. What I like about myself. What is that? Page of Cups. This is right here. Showing my feelings, okay, even though I cut off from it. Being offered love or romance. Trusting in your intuition, yeah. A younger imaginative lover. creative ideas, yeah, a lighthearted and flirtatious admirer, yeah, daydreaming, beginning of a love affair, finding it in your heart to forgive. Yeah. Because I don't want to, I don't want to have that heavy feeling anymore. What I don't like about myself is upside down 9 of Wands. Feeling vulnerable and cautious. Yes. Defending yourself just in case. Yep. Remembering past hurts. Yep. Feeling worried about the future. Yep. Developing strength through self-awareness. Prepared for anything. Yeah, I over-prepared. A little bit less now, but yeah. Persistence and perseverance. I don't like that about myself. Oh, maybe to the point where I kind of push it. Right? Suspicion of others. Yes. Okay. My talent. What is this? Six of Pentacles. Loss and gain, giving and taking, shift and power, to have and to have not, domination or submission, seeking approval. I guess you can say that seeking approval in this case is more like trying to be balanced about things. This is a lot to do with balance as well. Generosity, willingness, gifts, consideration. Yes. Night temptation. Ooh, this is a scary one. 6 of Cups. Acknowledge your inner child, goodwill to all, having nostalgic feelings, sentimental memories, playful relationship, naive and innocent, sharing and reconciliation. Yeah, because sometimes I still sometimes question people's intentions, like how genuine they are, like are just being sentimental for the sake of sentiment. Like my dad does that, but I know why he does that. He means what he says, but I think it's just a fear. It's a fear thing. 7, my personal quest. Yes, this one's kind of straightforward. Strength is right here, I know, but I'm going to read through it again. Facing reality, take control of your life. Learning to take responsibility for your actions, ability to forgive imperfection. That's a big one. Being tolerant of others' faults. That's a big one. Inner strength, awareness of your instinctive responses. Yeah. And my guardian angel. 2 of Cups. Relationship, connection, partnership, attraction. Moving toward another, alchemical merger, sexual attraction, romantic love. Establishing a bond, mutual understanding, harmony and cooperation, reconciliation and forgiveness. Yeah. Oof. Heavy stuff. Okay. Well, that's it for now. Thank you. I hope that helps, but this was just for me. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you in the next episode.